Alright, what is up everybody? This is ZC3 here, back to a brand new video. As you can see here before you, we are on Tier Maker, which is a website where you can make tier lists of anything from movies to sports to drinks and sodas. Essentially, it's just a tier maker of what you think is the best out of anything. And obviously, we're going to be continuing our Star Wars craze. As you can see here below you right here, these are all the current Star Wars news that we have. And so this is something I wanted to do as we continue our Star Wars craze ever since May the 4th, is do some movie reviews. So what I plan to do, this is a precursor, so what I plan to do is I plan to review all of the prequel, originals, and standalone movies. I will not be reviewing the sequel movies because it would just be 20-30 minutes of me shitting on it, and I don't want to waste time on it. But this is the precursor, as I said, and we're just going to be ranking the Star Wars movies. I'll be talking very briefly about them, not going into too much detail as I will in the reviews, which might take a while to come out. But yeah, bit of another precursor to this video is that this is an opinion based. I am in no means a movie critic. I know next to nothing about cinematography or what it means to make a movie. I took a basic films course that I had to complete for a credit my freshman year, which was 6 years ago. So I've in no way movie critic, and I don't really know how to properly review a movie. That being said, my reviews will be strictly based on how much I enjoyed the movie and what I thought was cool about the scenery and cinematography. I mean, I don't know much about it, but it's, it's not that hard to pick up on some things here and there. Also, I am most definitely in the band of what you would call sequel haters. I personally think that they are some of the worst movies ever made, and I think they ruined Star Wars. I think Kathleen Kennedy should step down immediately from her position. I think she's the worst executive in the history of movies, period, not just Star Wars. And she is a crone and a witch. Irregardless, I'm definitely very much against the woke agenda bullshit stuff. Like Star Wars, ruined Star Wars, horrible writing, etc., etc. Won't get into too much detail about it. However, I would like to say that at the end of the day, I feel like with things being so tense now and with so much more stuff, and there's all the different Legend comics, canon should be what you want it to be. If you think that the Emperor in the Dark Empire series, where he comes back and Luke joins the dark side, and blah blah blah, that's your canon. The Yuuzhan Vong is your canon, or Darth Maul surviving is the canon, or the One Sith Empire under what's his face is your canon, or even if the sequels are your canon, that's your opinion. Because I feel like there's so many different stories that you can formulate your own canon in your own mind, and that is what Star Wars is to you. Now, that being said, if you think the sequels are canon, although according to Zinzi owning Star Wars and that it is the true canon, I personally believe that it's not the canon. It's just a wholly written fan fiction. So if that's your opinion, then I mean, more power to you. I think you're a fucking idiot and you don't know what Star Wars is. But hey, that's is what it is. I just feel like people that are sequel fans, people that aren't sequel fans, should just at the end of the day should just not talk to one another. I mean, it's a kind of a sad that that's based on what it is, but hey, whatever. I just moved at the end of the day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the ranking. Obviously, we're gonna do the sequels, get them out of the way. Let's see, what do we have? I'm looking for Pacific. This is The Last Jedi, D tier. Obviously, actually, we're gonna add a row below. That F tier, and we'll make it a dark blue. No. A D tier. This is our F tier. We'll make that blue. F tier, Last Jedi. The epitome of what ruined Star Wars. It's unbelievable how horrible it was. I mean, Admiral Holdo was unnecessary. It obviously was just to appeal to the feminist, purple-haired nature. Shouldn't have even been a character. Regardless, what she did should have been done by Akbar. The Princess Leia getting blown up and being in space and resurrecting. What the Luke Skywalker would never quit. Let's be real. That was the worst part by far of the movies, that Luke Skywalker quit. What? What is this? Force. This is whatever. Emperor Palpatine. Go to an F tier. And then we've got The Force Awakens. We're going to put that a little bit above in detour because it was the first time we've had a movie of Star Wars in over a decade. It was a pretty cool experience. It wasn't that bad of a movie. Yes, it was an absolute 100% rehash of New Hope. There was nothing creative about it, period. It literally was this exact same New Hope. People talk about the difference between Anakin and Luke and Rey being Mary Sue's. Anakin is not a Mary Sue because he literally was created by the Force. He also had pilot training. Like he literally is the strongest person in the history of the Force user ever, period. So he's not Mary Sue. Mind you, when he was fighting the Naboo space fight, for the most of the time he was on autopilot and instantly took it off. He got hit and he went down and he just got lucky. That's not being Mary Sue. Luke Skywalker, again, had plenty of years of training in speeder piloting as well as blaster fighting, stuff like that. So he was a very, very good pilot from what he had trained by in Tatooine. Meanwhile, Rey had probably never flown anything in her entire life, and then she's doing all these insane maneuvers. Like, no, don't even get me started, bro. But overall, not a bad movie. Well, was a bad movie. It just wasn't absolute utter garbage, which is why it's in D tier, not in F tier. Now, let's go on to episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, a lot of people will put this in C or D tier because of Jar Jar Binks and Anakin Skywalker. I personally like the young Anakin Skywalker. I like Jar Jar Binks, honestly. I mean, let's be real. Jar Jar Binks was a comedic relief for the kids. Star Wars for everyone. You got to add kid stuff in there. I think Jar Jar Binks is not that annoying at all. The character that actually played Jar Jar Binks, we'll actually talk about that later in the future. It was a pretty cool movie. You know, Darth Maul, the cool fight scene, Qui-Gon Jinn, two species coming together, both humanoids and the Gungans coming together, separating their differences to fight the CIS or the Trade Federation. There wasn't CIS at that time. We're gonna put this in B tier. Now, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, this would definitely be a D tier or C tier as well. Obviously, people would say that this was what ruined the prequels for a lot of people. In fact, prequels were very, very hated, and it actually really upset George. And I feel like all the hate for the prequels is one of the main reasons why George decided to sell Disney. And it's our own fault that he sold to Disney. So it's our own fault that Disney ruined Star Wars. We should have been much more appealing. Because now looking back in retrospective, we can see how great the prequels are. I mean, personally, I grew up with them as a kid. So people that grew up with the prequels loved them, but the people that were older and grew up with the originals didn't like them as much and were dog shitting on them when they really shouldn't have been, because the prequels are great movies. That being said, there were some cringe parts, like the whole Anakin having a love story. That the writing and the script was a little bit wonky with that. They could have done a little bit better. Introduction of the clones was awesome. Geonosis, a lot of cool lore behind that we'll get into in the movie reviews. The Camino, Jango Fett, things like that. We're gonna put that also in B tier behind episode 1, and that episode 1 was better. There's going to be a gap. There's going to be no movies in the C tier. There needs to be a distinctive gap between everything else and these trash bins. So, let's continue with Revenge of the Sith. Now, Revenge of the Sith is obviously the best prequel movie by far. Anakin's Fall of the Dark Side, the Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan's duel, which is the best cinematograph, best choreographed fight ever, period, in the discussion. Order 66, The Fall of Jedi, the beginning of Darth Vader, yada, yada, yada. This was an absolute banger movie. The very first scene, the Battle of Coruscant, absolute incredible movie. The music, paired with the fighting, was unbelievable. S tier. All right, let's move on to the let's do the originals. Let's do A New Hope. Now, A New Hope was the very first Star Wars movie ever. The evil empire, Luke Skywalker being this nobody, coming in, being this hope and savior. Princess Leia being a badass female character. That was one of the things people said, that the sequels were like trying to put all these new women in power. Bro, we had Princess Leia. She was a badass. She took control. She didn't take no shit from nobody. She was like one of the first strong female leads like ever in movie history, bro. Like, what are you talking about? A New Hope. Awesome. They beat the Death Star. Incredible. The rebellion has been inflamed. what's going to happen next, we're going to put that in A tier. All right. Empire Strikes Back. Now, this is arguably the best Star Wars movie ever by common consensus. However, I disagree. I think that outside of Darth Vader revealing that he's Luke's father, I feel like Return of the Jedi and A New Hope are better than this movie. I'm just going to be real. That being said, a great movie. The Hoth, The Empire Strikes Back. And we get to see like the true power of the Empire, how strong they are, how tough it's going to be for the rebellion to win this war. Pretty cool. Still going to put it in A tier above these two. Now, Return of the Jedi is my personal favorite of the sequels. Luke Skywalker realizing that he's a Jedi, becoming a Jedi Knight, going up against the rebels. Going against the Empire. The rebels going against the Empire, and the Endor, and the Ewoks. A lot of people don't like the Ewoks. Again, it's service for the kids, and it's to sell plushies. Let's be real. And they beat the Empire, but the Death Star, the Emperor dies. Luke saves Darth Vader and brings him back to the light side, fully submitting himself to the Jedi, refusing to back down against the Emperor, really throwing his lightsaber away, the true epitome of Empire, saying, I'm not going to fight, I'm a Jedi, you failed. Incredible stuff. At the end, when they're all partying in the forest, and the music, perfection, S tier. Now, for the two standalones. First, we're going to do Solo. Now, the bad thing about Solo was that it was a movie that was boycotted during the outrage for the sequels. This was a mistake by a Star Wars fan base. We should have not boycotted Solo. We should have boycotted the final sequel. As the Solo did not make a lot of money compared to the other ones. It was a great movie. It really was a great movie. We saw the long Han Solo, before he became a smuggler. So he's still. I find how like his girlfriend keeps like, you're always a good guy. You're always the right thing. That's true. Because after years of smuggling, he's become this bad guy. He's forgotten who he was. And then he meets Luke and Leia, and he realizes again throughout meeting them and them influencing him that he's the good guy, and he makes sacrifices to be the good guy again. Awesome movie. Great portrayal of Han Solo. Chewbacca. Also a great portrayal of the Empire. Really cool stuff. It's going in B tier. All right. And now our Rogue One. Now, this is the epitome of what Star Wars is. I love this movie. There's no Jedi. There's no Force until the very end. It's just ordinary people doing extraordinary things to beat the Empire, right? Jyn Erso is this girl who is the daughter, right? This chief scientist, and then the blind dude, the Force is one with me, and they ultimate sacrifice to go scare and they all die. Ultimate sacrifice to get the plans. Incredible movie of just we get to see what Star Wars was like for the ordinary person, how rough it was, and how courageous they had to be, and how they had to go against all odds, and just go out and do it. And like I said, ordinary people doing extraordinary things for the good of the galaxy. And then the introduction of Darth Vader. It's the first time we get to see him in his true power. Chills. I remember what absolute chills when I saw it. It's going in the S tier. That's right. Above Return of the Jedi, and above Empire Strikes, and above, Revenge of the Sith as the best Star Wars movie ever made. So that is our list. Sequels here in the D and F. Utter garbage. Not canon in my opinion. In the B tier, Episode 1 and Episode 2, respectively, and Solo. At the A tier, we've got A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. And at the S tier, we've got Rogue One, being the best Star Wars movie ever made, in my opinion. And then Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. Hope you guys enjoyed my list. If you disagree, comment down below what your list would be. And again, I plan on doing some reviews in the near future, and I hope you will enjoy them. Either way, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. And try not to get too triggered. If you're a sequel fan, I don't give a shit if I upset your feelings. They're shit movies. I digress. Star Wars overall is the greatest franchise ever made. I love it. We all love it. And can't wait to see you guys in the next video when I do the movie reviews. Should be pretty fun. Anyways, have a great day and stay frosty.